Now, I like to make money, and that probably doesn't come as a shock to anybody given the fact that my entire livelihood revolves around the topic of money and the topic and the passion of making, saving, and investing money. And over the last year and a half, throughout the pandemic and into 2021 and 2022, I really dove headfirst into the world of investing. And as a result of the things that I've learned over the last year, I brought my investment portfolio from a modest $7,000 valuation to a portfolio worth about $140,000. And even though I'm super happy with these stock gains, I want more. I want to be the female version of Jordan Belfort. I want to be the next wolf on Wall Street, and I want to give a shot at day trading. But the problem is, I don't know how to day trade, and I'm certainly not confident enough to do it on my own. And so what did I do being somebody that wants to make money in day trading but absolutely has no idea where to start? Well, I did what any logical business person would do. I turned to the experts of Fiverr to teach me how to day trade and to pick my stocks on my behalf. So in this video, I'm going to be outlining the week-long challenge that I made for myself where I hired a Fiverr stock picker to pick my day trade stocks for me, and I'm going to give you guys the results of this 5-day experiment. We're going to be breaking down what stocks I chose, my thought process behind these stocks, as well as the thought process of the stock picker, and at the end of the video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly how much money I made or lost in this venture. So let's get started. So let's just dive right into it because we have a ton to cover in this video. So for those of you who aren't familiar with day trading or how it works, basically what day trading is whenever you do very short-term stock investments. Whenever it comes to stock investing, there are kind of two schools of thoughts. You have fundamental analysis and you have technical analysis. Fundamental analysis is what I do whenever I'm looking for my stocks that I want to invest in. It involves looking at the company's health, their financials, the PE ratio, and really seeing where the company is going to go long term. Whereas day trading involves something called technical analysis. This is involving whenever you simply look at a stock chart, you look at different cues, you look at different things involved in the chart, and then based off of that chart, you make the decision to either buy or sell. To be honest, technical analysis, in my opinion, is very confusing, which is why I've never really given day trading a try before. But I've always been very curious about it, which is what prompted this experiment. So as far as this 5-day experiment goes, I set myself a couple of ground rules. Number one is I would be making these trades through my Webull account. This is where I do all of my speculative short-term trades. Number two is I would allocate myself $250 to this experiment because, to be honest, I wasn't sure if it was going to work and I didn't want to lose much more than $250. And number three is I would rely solely on the day trader. I wouldn't do any of my own research and I would just blindly take their advice because at the end of the day, I don't know what I'm doing and they do. Or at least they should. So I started this experiment by number one, going onto Fiverr.com and looking for a freelancer that could help me find some day trading stock picks. So what I did was I went to Fiverr.com and then I searched in the search bar day trading stock picker and stock expert. I actually tried a wide variety of different names, different searches to try to find something that I could use. And to be honest, I was surprised about the limited amount of search results that came from the different things that I was searching. My inclination is pointing to the fact that maybe Fiverr has cracked down on these types of side gigs because I remember about a year ago I looked for this exact same thing and there was a ton of different options to choose from, but whenever I chose today there were very few options out there and most of them had 0 orders and 0 reviews, leaving me a bit confused on how to move forward. After searching for a little bit, I was able to finally find a Fiverr freelancer that at least had a handful of 5-star reviews, which was better than nothing. I paid them $13 and then they sent me a daily watch list every morning before the market opened. So now that we have our freelancer, it's time to move on to the fun part of the experiment, which is actually making these trades, and it's time to make that sweet money. But before I do that, if you guys could please do me a huge favor, and if you could hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm, I would greatly appreciate it. It helps me, it helps my channel grow, and if you want to show some support, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, I woke up Monday morning ready to start this experiment. I was super pumped, super excited to make money, and I was super excited to get some insight into how day trading works. Now, the good thing about the freelancer that I chose was that not only did they send me watch lists every single morning, they also sent a pretty in-depth guide on how to day trade. That way people could learn on top of getting these watch lists, which I thought was pretty cool. So Monday started off a little bit differently than I anticipated. Now, I was hoping that he would send me the exact stocks to invest in and when to invest in them. But what ended up happening was he emailed me a watch list first thing in the morning. Now, this is what the Monday watch list looked like. It included a handful of stocks that he recommended and that he was watching. All of these are stocks that he recommended in buying. And in this watch list included the symbol, the price, the gap, the float, as well as the volume for the day. Now, I don't know a ton about day trading, but what I do know is that you want to choose stocks that have high volume. If a stock doesn't have high volume, then it typically isn't a good short-term trade. So even though my original intention was to sort of blindly follow this freelancer, I had to ultimately come up with a secondary strategy because of the vagueness with his instructions and his watch list. And so because of that, I decided that my strategy for the week would be to take his morning watch list, choose the highest volume stocks within that watch list, and then invest in those. And so based off of these watch lists, the very first stocks that I bought for the week was I purchased 4 stocks from the watch list that he sent. I purchased the stock TRIL for $17.72. I purchased 3 shares. I also bought 10 shares of the stock VVOS, and I bought them at a price of $6.30. I bought 20 shares of the stock XERS, and I purchased that at $2.70. And then the last stock that I purchased for the day was PSTV, and I purchased 25 shares of that stock at $2.45 per share. Now, Monday didn't start off that great. The stock started off okay, but then as the day progressed, they started going down more and more and more. And I kept holding on hope that they would increase by the end of the trading day, but they simply didn't. And so I was forced to sell really close to the closing bell. And ultimately, I ended up selling for a $22.61 loss. Now, my biggest loser for the day was the stock PSTV, and that stock alone lost $14, which equated to about 22.86%. So Monday was definitely not good. We are definitely in the red, but we still have 4 days to get this ahead. So let's dive into Tuesday. Now, Tuesday, I started the day still feeling optimistic, still feeling excited about the stock gains that I was inevitably going to make, and I started the day off by getting another watch list. Now, of the watch list that this person sent me, I decided to go with the same strategy that I went with Monday, which was to choose higher volume stocks. And ultimately, I ended up choosing 4 different stocks. I chose BPTH. I bought 8 shares of that stock at $7.18. I chose CARA. I purchased 4 shares of that company at $15.27. And then I purchased OPGN, 16 shares at $2.86. And lastly, I purchased HGBL. I purchased 22 shares at $1.86. For day number 2, I invested a total of $205.20. Day 2 was a little bit better. So on day 2, we still saw a lot of red. In fact, it was still a bloodbath, but we did have one winner. And ultimately, the winner for the day was the stock OPGN. We purchased that at $2.86. We ended up selling it at $2.89 for a gain of 48 cents or 1%. Now, we ended Tuesday being down once again. We lost $7.95, but we still have 3 days to choose from. And now we move on to the 3rd day of the week. So on Wednesday, I purchased 4 different stocks. I purchased 12 shares of CPOP, that's CPOP, at $4.54. I purchased 4 shares of the stock SPRT, and I purchased that at $13.60. I purchased 2 shares of the stock EFTR, and I purchased those at $23.62. And then I purchased 8 shares of the stock UUU, and I purchased those at $7 per share. Now, Wednesday again was a little bit of a better day than Monday, but not as good as Tuesday. And we had 2 winners for the day, but our losers were pretty big losers. Our biggest loser of the day was the stock EFTR, which had a 27.18% loss for the day. We did have 2 winners. The UUU stock gained 1.43%, and the SPRT stock gained 3.68% for the day. So on day number 3, we invested a total of about $203, and we lost $10.74 for the day. So we moved on to day 4, and we ended up getting the watch list in the morning. And by the time that I reviewed the watch list and I looked at the stocks and I looked at what they were doing for the day, I decided that I was not going to make any trades for that day. All of the stocks at the time in which I reviewed them were already up 30, 40, 50%, all based off of pre-market news that had already hit the news outlets. And as a result, they had already reached what I believed would have been the peak. Now, I ultimately ultimately ended up being right in this because the stocks that I chose not to buy ended up tanking throughout the day and ended up ending significantly lower than they were at the time in which I looked at them and at the time I looked at buying them. So even though on Thursday we didn't invest anything and thus we didn't lose or gain any money, I did prevent myself from losing anything at all, which is a plus. And that brings us to the fifth and final day. So on day number 5, I purchased only 3 stocks. I purchased the stock NNA. I bought 18 shares at $3.03. I purchased 16 shares of the stock CEMI at $3.34. And then I purchased the stock NURO for $12.35, and I bought 4 shares of that. Now, Friday was our biggest winner by far. In fact, we had our best performing individual stock of the entire time on Friday, and that was the stock NURO. During the day on Friday, this stock rose 39.35%. It went from the price of $12.35 per share to $17.21 per share, bringing our total Friday gain to $14.82. It was dragged down a little bit by the stock CMI, which lost about 5% on Friday. Now, overall, the exact amount that I invested on a day-by-day basis in these stocks fluctuated a little bit, and it ranged between $200 and $250. But for the sake of just simplicity and for the sake of this project, I allocated $250 to this, meaning I didn't want to invest any more than that. And as a result, with this $250 investment, I lost $26.48, which came out to a percentage loss of 10.59%, meaning that over the course of 5 days, based off of this stock experts day trade picks, I lost about 10%, which isn't a ton because of the fact that I only invested $250, but if I had invested a lot more money, then I would be pretty upset with the 10% loss. But at the end of the day, you guys, whether or not you choose to do day trading is totally up to you. I think for me personally, I'm probably going to be staying away from it, not only because I think it's a bit too risky, but I personally think that I have better ways to make money out there rather than gambling them in the stock market. But if you take away anything from this video, it is to stay away from these Fiverr gurus that are claiming that they can give you some day trading picks, because I'm not entirely convinced that this Fiverr day trader really knows what he's doing. In fact, I am probably inclined to believe that they just went onto the Webull app or went onto Reddit or went on the trending page of CNBC and chose their stocks that way, because all of the stocks were very high volume, all of them had already skyrocketed by the time the market even opened, and none of them ended up being really big winners. Like always, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. This is, of course, for entertainment purposes only, and I am not giving you guys any stock advice. Do not listen to me when it comes to stock picks because I'm certainly not an expert. But like always, if you have any questions, comments, if you have anything to add, make sure to leave a comment down below. And while you guys are at it, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell, and I will see you guys in the next video.